Watkins was my teacher, but Mr. Watkins was too shy to appear on film, so Miss Daniel from Standard 4 took us, and there's my class. And there's Miss Daniel, who married Mr. Watkins eventually. I've seen the film a number of times over the years, but it's still a very remarkable experience, because it's not many people are given the chance of being taken back so specifically to a boyhood and specifically to so many people with whom I grew up. And it's sad to look at them now, all gone. And there's my father and my dog. And there's Heck come out, and Hop on the right there. Very much admired him. This, of course, the bath sequence, was very typical of the period. And that's about as close to an interior of the time as you can get. It's a great social document. And there's the centre of the village, of course, was the Calvinistic Methodist York Chapel.
But what's interesting also about that film is that it began very much as a documentary. It began, for the first reel, I would think, just as a perfectly ordinary, almost travelogue about Welsh life in the 1940s. And then, having set that up, you then brought on this sinister loudspeaker van and found this life under threat, which was a typically Jennings way of approaching things, nothing to do with the English realist tradition at all.
Achtung, Achtung, an die Bevölkerung von Cumgith. Attention, attention, to the population of Cumgith. As from today, the districts of southern and western Wales stand under the protection of the Greater German Reich. Under a proclamation issued today, the newly appointed Deputy Reich Protector, SS Obergruppenführer Heydrich, calls upon all classes of the people to give their loyal cooperation. Continue your work calmly and put your trust in the Führer.
Of course, comes the day when the men are shot. And I stood by and watched this scene. And there we are as children, off to Germany. And the men against the chapel wall, the cemetery wall.
When there was an air raid, the BBC issued a bulletin the next morning.
This is London calling.
Enemy aircraft raided towns in the southeast of England, or something like that. Fires were started and casualties have been reported. That was after 1,500 people had been killed and half London had been burned down. That's where the title came from.
All but one of the films Jennings made were shorts, mostly less than half an hour long. The single exception is Fires Were Started, the closest he ever came to making a traditional feature film. Way ahead of its time in its use of improvisation and non-professional actors, it brought a previously unheard of degree of realism to the screen and strongly influenced the development of British screen acting.
I really feel quite emotional about it now. It is 57 years since I came down the highway east to this place with Humphrey that very first day, looking for locations. And we found this warehouse completely bombed out and decided that that was where we were going to do the actual burning of the fire.
Shot in and around a real auxiliary fire station in London's Docklands, the film tells the story of 24 hours in the life of a group of firemen fighting a fire during one of the worst nights of the Blitz.
He had the script with him, and when I tell you that the script was one sheet of paper, and the Ministry of Information had been creating, said we want a proper shooting script before we can advance any money, and he waved this sheet of paper and said, this is all they're bloody well getting.
He didn't have a set plan of what he was going to do. He saw something, it meant something to him, and he started to almost to paint it, like he was a painter, of course. He was very quick to pick up something that was worth having.
I remember the man playing the penny whistle. And of course, that was absolutely improvised. But these wonderful kind of serendipity things always happened to Humphrey. Many times I said to Humphrey, oh my goodness, you were jolly lucky. Lucky, he said? I planned it all.
Fire station.
I got a notice from the Fire Force headquarters to say that Mr. Humphrey Jennings would shortly commence filming at Whitechapel Fire Station and Wellclose Square Fire Station, and he was to be given every assistance.
Funny thing happened this morning, John.
Go on.
I was sitting by the fire, dozing, and a big lump of coal fell out. Right near the road, caught it a fire.
Go on.
Give it quite a turn.
Yeah, doing it all wrong, Jimmy, having a fire in your own home.
You got something there?
Yeah.
The actors in the film were really good. They were really good. And they were all auxiliary firemen and regular firemen.
Johnny, this is Barrett. Barrett, that's Johnny Daniels, driver of the heavy unit.
Pleased to meet you, mate.
How do you do? How are you?
When I first met him, I'll be very frank, I was afraid of him. I'd never acted before in my life. I'd never been on a stage of any sort or even done amateur theatricals. In this picture, I sing a song, One Man Went to Mow.
One man went to mow, he went to mow one meadow.
I started on it at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I was still singing it 5:30 at night. He turned round to Pennington Richards, the cameraman, and he said, Penny, I think Fred's voice is going. That's after about 7 hours singing. So you see, it was with that terrific drive of his, that it was, to him, it was possible to sing for a week on end and never break down.
Yeah, make it snappy.
6 men went to mow a meadow. 6 men, 5 men, 4 men, 3 men, 2 men, 1 man, and his dog went to mow a meadow.
And here comes the headmaster.
7 men went to mow a meadow. 7 men, 6 men, 5 men, 4 men, 3 men, 2 men, 1 man, and his dog went to mow a meadow.
It is fascinating the way he almost gets real people to be real, to be themselves.